We will call the City of Helena City Commission regular meeting to order. It is July 6, 2026 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
City Attorney Doctor.
Here.
City Manager Lake.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Rigby.
Here.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Here.
Commissioner Logan.
Here.
Mayor Dean.
Here. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on our agenda tonight are the minutes for the January 12th, 2026 meeting, February 4th, 2026 meeting, and the February 18th, 2026 meeting. Are there any comments or changes from commissioners? All right, seeing none, the minutes will stand as submitted. On our consent agenda, we did have a request to pull item B, which is the DeFord Trail Improvement Grant Agreement. We will move that to the first item under the regular agenda, so that will now be item A under the regular agenda. So left on the consent agenda is item A, claims, and C, Meatloaf Hill Connectivity and Development Project Grant Acceptance. Are there any commission comments on consent agenda items A and C? All right, seeing none, is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing no public comment on the consent agenda, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Logan.
I would move approval of consent agenda items A and C.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Awesome. And before we move on to bid awards, I should have said this before we got going. We do have an overflow room next door in room 326. Please be sure that you are not blocking any of the stairwells or the egress from any of the rooms. We want to ensure that should there be an emergency, we can get people out of the building safely. So please be sure that you're not blocking any of the egress or stairwells. So with that, we will go ahead and move on to bid awards. Bid award A is the bid award Fire Station Number 2 Renovation and Fire Suppression Project CF 26002. Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Commissioners, I will keep this simple and short. We'd like to make some renovations to Fire Station 2. Tonight, I'd ask you to award a contract to R&R Taylor Construction for the amount of $610,000 to do those renovations.
Okay, questions or comments from the commission? And this was included in our budget from FY26.
Mayor Dean, it was in FY24 for design and then
Okay.
FY26 for the construction.
Great. Okay. Seeing no comments or questions from the commission, is there any public comment on the bid award for Fire Station 2 renovations and fire suppression? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
I move to award the Fire Station Number 2 renovation project CF 26002 to the lowest responsive bidder, R&R Taylor Construction, in the amount of $610,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no additional comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, we will go ahead and move along to communications and proposals from commissioners. Any communications or proposals from commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Reed.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. I'd like to thank those of you who came out tonight. The turnout tonight is a reminder of why the resolution we passed in January is so important. This marks approximately 1 year since the arrest of Christopher Martinez. And I think in light of recent detentions in Helena, it is important that this issue remain one that we are open to discuss. As we celebrate 250 years of our independence, I think it's also a really good moment to reflect on our Constitution and the rights contained within it. While we do not have the authority to address the actions of federal agencies operating in our city, I feel strongly that I have a duty to stand up to possible violations of our rights, particularly the Fifth Amendment, which guarantees due process to all persons. The Helena Hold Room is not a city operation, but it is operating in our community, and as leaders, I feel the need to speak up when the rights of our neighbors are being violated. As a commission, we should ensure we are taking every possible step to protect the rights of our community. Nuestra Constitución es para todos nosotros y somos más fuerte unidos. I hope that we can bring a discussion of our resolution to an agenda in the near future. Thank you.
Are there any additional commission comments? All right, seeing no additional comments, we'll go ahead and move along to report of the city attorney. City Attorney Doctor.
Mayor, Commissioners, I have nothing to report tonight except go USA in the World Cup.
All right, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioners and members of the public. Good evening. A few things for you this evening. We have 3 initiatives posted on our Be Heard page, which we hope you will participate in. We have a survey for our Parks Department, who are currently undergoing their master plan rewrite. We also have a special events page. We are taking a total look at our special events, how we do those. So far, we've gotten a lot of great feedback, so we encourage stakeholders and community members to give us feedback on those. And then we also have our listening sessions posted on there, which for any topic that's posted on there, you can post comments or questions before or after the event. And speaking of listening session, our next session is next Friday, and it's going to be Let's Talk Public Safety. It'll start at 3 p.m., and we did change locations due to the Civic Center not having AC and the forecast looking pretty warm. So we will actually be at the Helena College in their lecture hall. So again, that's 3 p.m. We'll get to hear from our fire, our police, and our dispatchers as well. Next, I want to touch on a meeting I had a few weeks ago. Staff did recommend during our budget process to forego asks from organizations in the community just because we don't have a great process to vet different requests. But I did want to let you know that I did meet with the Helena Symphony a few weeks ago, and they have requested $10,000 for their Symphony Under the Stars event. They are requesting this funding prior to their July 18th event, so I did want to bring that before the commission for any comment or discussion before I move on to my other items.
All right, so I guess feedback to the city manager for Symphony Under the Stars. I guess I'll kick off some thoughts I have. I also had a meeting with the Symphony. Prior to last year, our contribution had been $5,000 for Symphony Under the Stars. I think given our budget crunch, in my perspective, I think that that's an easier to get to that point. I think that we have $20,000 right now set aside for Helena Area Community Foundation for nonprofits. And I think that if there's interest from the commission in supporting Symphony Under the Stars before the July 18th event, we could earmark 5 of that 20 for Symphony Under the Stars, and then when certified values come in August, backfill that. It's obviously an important event in our community, but I fully agree that I think that we need a better process as to how all of these issues are vetted from the staff and commission. I've said this in our admin meetings before that I think something underneath like economic development for events that do bring people into the community might be an appropriate place, but I think that's probably a conversation for for the next budget cycle, but thoughts from the commission on Symphony Under the Stars?
Mayor Dean?
Yep, Commissioner Gustafson.
Thank you. Saw this on the agenda and was struggling because we've been talking about the funding for nonprofits a couple times and how we do that well. And I've been trying to think about a recommendation of what we use as a funding matrix or frame, and thinking about either our strategic plan or our core values, and if projects fit under that or support. I'm trying to think of a way that we can make those funding decisions, and I don't feel comfortable right now doing that, especially with our budget limitations and continuing to just do, one-off funding recommendations. So I don't feel comfortable at this time with our financial limitations supporting this.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
so with the 20,000 we have set aside for the Helena Area Foundation, and if we were to earmark 5,000, we could put 5,000 back, or, okay. And so with that,
If certified values were to come in.
Sure.
Yeah.
and then is there a way, if we didn't, that we could maybe have Helena Symphony reach out to Helena Area Foundation? If that was something everyone was more comfortable with, since that money is already available. I don't know what they plan on doing with that.
They do
20,000.
a grant process, which was part of the conversation a number of years ago, to make it more consistent. Helena Area Community Foundation runs a grant cycle for the city Helena Area Community Foundation allocations.
So I think I'd have to agree with Commissioner Gustafson based on the conversations we've had. I'd be uncomfortable handpicking an event with previous conversations that we've had already.
Yep, Commissioner Reed?
Thank you, Mayor Dean. It was my recollection, which could be incorrect, that we had not, in fact, limited ourselves to HACF as the recipient of the 20,000, but that we would set aside 20,000 for both HACF and the other requests that had come in separately, which would allow the flexibility to move 5,000 now if we so decided, because I know the Sun Run was outside of the request from HACF and is not, in fact, a registered nonprofit. So I would be comfortable moving 5 now, as long as my understanding that we had not, in fact, limited ourselves to HACF for that 20.
I think in the preliminary budget it is marked as HACF, but I could be wrong. We can get some clarification on that, though, if that's helpful. Commissioner Logan?
Mayor Dean, thanks. I am not going to be in support of this request for reasons stated, the financial difficulties that we find ourselves in, and also the lack of process. I mean, as others have stated, perhaps this request could be granted by HACF, but we don't have the processes yet, and it's pretty late in their in the Symphony's game, so that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, City Manager.
All right, thank you, Mayor Dean and Commission. Moving on to a few more announcements, I next want to bring your attention to our America 250 event that'll be occurring on Wednesday of this week, starting at 3:30 at the Flag Plaza at the Montana State Capitol. We're very excited about this program. This event is meant to commemorate a worldwide reading of the Declaration of Independence at 4 p.m. our time, all around the world and all around the country. There'll be a reading by various communities across the globe. And so we're very excited that our capital city can participate in this. We have a great MC. We have Stuart Davis from the Montana Radio Company who will be emceeing the event. Our state capitol band will be performing. We have opening remarks by Mayor Dean, Tom Rolfe, Lewis and Clark County Commissioner, and then Callie Asham from the Helena Area Chamber of Commerce. We also have some special guests for our national anthem, a couple members from the cast of 6 with our Grand Street Theater, A couple high schoolers very excited about that. We also have some Native American flag songs and a gratitude song that will be highlighted. The governor was also kind enough to write us a proclamation to help us celebrate the day as well, which will be read by Christy Jacobson, our Montana Secretary of State. And we'll have various other groups and members participating. Close to about 30 different readers who will be reading sections of the Declaration. So we hope you guys will all attend. I think we have up to 6 food trucks lined up to be there as well, so it should be a great community event for families and kids and all who would like to attend. Any questions on this event? We are asking if you are reading to please show up no later than 3 o'clock so we can get you guys up on stage and ready to go. If there's no questions on that, I will turn to our next agenda item, which is going to be our Government Finance Officers Association Public Service Award. I did want to take a moment to highlight this. You know, obviously in this position, there are some difficult things sometimes you have to deal with discipline and accountability and HR issues on the negative side, but some of the best things about this job is being able to honor and recognize people who go above and beyond for our community and our city. And we put forward a nomination for this Public Service Award probably about 4 months ago. And we just received notice that we did have a recipient from the city. And so I'll go ahead and read a little bit here. So for those not familiar, the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, is the premier professional organization dedicated to advancing excellence in public finance throughout the United States and Canada. Each year, GFOA recognizes a select group of individuals whose work demonstrates exceptional leadership and service to their communities. With more than 19,000 incorporated municipalities across the U.S., earning a GFOA recognition for outstanding public service is a remarkable achievement. This prestigious honor is reserved for individuals that make a meaningful difference in the lives of residents while exemplifying the highest standards of public service. Tonight, we are proud to celebrate one of those exceptional accomplishments and recognize the dedication, vision, and hard work that made it possible. Former Finance Director Sheila Danielson reimagined the City of Helena, Montana's budget as a narrative rather than a spreadsheet, connecting financial decisions directly to community priorities so residents could see how their dollars support services and long-term goals. That shift reflects the broader change she has brought to the Helena's Finance Division, turning it into a strategic partner for the city. She led the city's multi-year enterprise resource planning rollout, improving reporting and internal controls along the way, and establishing new financial policies and auditing practices that helped Helena earn 5 consecutive unmodified opinions on its financial and single audits, along with GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Last year, her fiscal discipline helped secure an AA+ bond rating for the city's 3rd fire station, a result that benefits taxpayers directly through lower borrowing costs. Sheila Danielson's leadership reflects courage, discipline, and vision, making her not only an exceptional finance director, but a powerful role model for finance professionals committed to excellence in public service. Sheila built a finance division centered on trust, encouraging collaboration across departments and greater public engagement in the budgeting process along the way. Sheila was one of less than 20 finance directors nationwide who earned this recognition. And I do believe we have Ms. Danielson online with us this evening, so I would like to turn it over to her for any comments she might make.
Director Danielson, we are so excited that you've received this, and we turn it over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. I just want to say that it's just such an honor to be nominated and to receive this award. I really am humbled by it, and it represents just an enormous amount of teamwork, and I'm just so ever thankful to my colleagues and the finance team for all of the objectives that we have accomplished for the City of Helena. I'm very proud of our work, and I want to thank the city manager and the commission for the opportunity to serve the City of Helena and the residents of City of Helena. and having the faith in me to carry out my goals there. And I'm very honored and proud to have served for the city of Helena. And thank you again, Manager Lake, for nominating me for this award. Thank you.
We miss you already.
I miss everybody too. This kind of a little bit nostalgic. I wanted to answer Commissioner Reed's question, but I knew that it's not my role anymore. So thank you very much for taking the time to have this at your commission meeting, and I really am truly humbled. Thank you very much.
Deserving, and I think it's Manager Lake read the nomination, but all of the years to get us to the place we are now, after being in quite a hole, we're very grateful, and you deserve every accolade.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, Commissioner Logan.
Mayor Dean, thank you very much, and just wanted to say a quick thanks, Sheila. That's an award well earned and deserved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, City Manager.
Thanks, Mayor Dean. No, thank you so much for taking the time to honor Ms. Danielson. She was honored at the GFOA's national conference last week as well, so putting Helena on the map out there in a great way.
Awesome. Okay, we will move on to report from the HCC. Ms. Houserath.
Commissioners, thank you for letting us report, and thank you very much, Mayor and City Manager, for meeting both with the Executive Committee of HCC, and House District 2 HCC, and also meeting with the whole HCC. We really appreciate it. We also appreciate immediately having been added to the list to get your packets on a weekly basis, so thank you very much. Coming up, we will be participating in the Art Walk on Friday the 17th. We're going to do an encore of something we did a little over a year ago. We're going to be soliciting love letters to the city of Helena. We're going to be asking Art Walk participants to tell us, to write little notes for you about what they love about our city. We feel that it's important to celebrate this. It also is very instructive in tight times, especially, of seeing what do we really care about as a community. I was a representative for HCC, moving to another topic, with the Lewis and Clark County Health Department on their promoting of neighborhood block parties. We had 21 applications, and they had money for 3 block parties. I was on the scoring committee. These applications were amazing. 2 residents in Helena received these grants. And so HCC looks forward to working with you, with the health department, and promoting neighborhood block parties in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Houserath. Any questions for the HCC? Yes,
Mayor-
Commissioner Gustafson.
Mayor Dean,
Maybe, Ms. Houserath, don't go too far. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. We had at our last admin meeting, we had talked about the HCC providing a recommendation on a possible levy. Did that get discussed at your last meeting, or was that moved?
Yes, and it was tabled to our next meeting
Okay.
because of our meeting with Mayor Dean. We understood that you were considering not having this in November, but moving it to another, perhaps to a different date. And we felt that, given that, we wanted a little more time.
Great.
So it will be on our agenda, in my understanding, it'll be on our agenda in this meeting in July.
Perfect. I look forward to hearing your recommendation.
Thank you, Ms.
Any other
Houserath.
questions?
Looks like no other questions. Thank you. All right, we will move on to regular items. Regular item A will be what we move from the consent agenda. This is the DeFord Trail Improvement Grant Agreement. Mr. Langsather.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for having me before you this evening. It is my understanding that I will be speaking specifically to the acceptance of a cooperative funding agreement between the USDA, Helena, Lewis and Clark National Forest, and the City of Helena to cover city salary and materials involved in the DeFord Trail Improvement Project. And it is also my understanding that the DeFord Trail Improvement Project was approved by City Commission on June 1st, 2026. And to ensure my understanding of that process is correct, I defer to City Attorney Becky Doctor.
Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Langsather is correct. Just for clarification, this is an approval or denial of grant monies. If you deny the grant monies, we don't get the money. If you approve it, we get the money. Either way, the project itself is already approved. So it can and likely will move forward even if we don't take these monies. So that's just a clarification today.
Okay, thank you, City Attorney Doctor. Questions or comments from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Reed.
Thank you, Mayor Dean and Mr. Langsather. The question I have relates to possible change in cost. So in our packet, we have a map that still says location of new trail is approximate and will likely move based on project needs. And I had asked the city manager if it was possible to get a closer to final or a final map because there could be cost implications. So specific to that point, in earlier discussions, it was suggested that the preferred approach would require an easement. And so my first question is, have we requested the easement for the preferred trail relocation?
Mayor Dean, Commissioner Reed, no, we have not requested that easement. The city has chosen to construct the trail entirely on city-owned property. The cost differential won't be substantial. Again, as I mentioned earlier, to keep the grade at our target 5% or less, we will simply build the grade out, construct a rock retaining wall to hold the material, and basically start back further on the trail and work the grade out. And again, the purpose of that trail will be to circle around the trailhead parking area and tie back into a position that's actually the same height as, where we'll be ascending to, because the trail's actually higher on the southern end of the parking area than it is on the northern end.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up. I guess I use that trail all the time, and to me, a retaining wall seems to be a fairly significant difference. Is it possible to see, where is the retaining wall going to be? What's it going to look like? Because there's no need for one now, and I'm concerned about the amount of excavation change that's going to go on that's going to require a retaining wall. Where would that be?
Mayor Dean, Commissioner Reed, basically the trail where its current location is, it would remain that. We would just increase the height of the trail north of the kiosk and then just ascend slowly to get up on our target bench where we want to get around the trailhead parking area. In actuality, after we looked at the process, it was determined that the visual disturbance would be less to pursue that route than it would be to move the trail higher up onto the slope.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. You said the cost was not significant. Can you give me an estimate of what the cost difference would be? Because we requested a grant with one cost, so what would be the difference on the city's cost?
Mayor Dean, Commissioner Reed, the difference in cost is we will be using some road mix material to build up that grade. We were actually able to source the rocks from city-owned property in the 10-mile watershed, so there was not a significant cost of bringing that material in. And it will be visually appealing because it'll be similar to other natural rock that you see in the Dry Gulch area. I don't see a significant change in cost because there was certainly cost to building a new trail prism, across adjacent property owned by Prickly Pear Land Trust.
Mayor Dean, I guess I continue to have concerns about the project, and I continue to have concerns about the approximate, we don't know what it's going to look like. I feel it's hard for me to accept a project and a grant for it when I don't really understand what it's going to look like. And that's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions or comments from the commission? And Mr. Lang said, this is the one that we were ranked #1. This was the grant that was ranked #1, right? Not the meatloaf one.
Mayor Dean, that is correct. The city participated in a process where projects that appear before the Resource Advisory Committee are ranked by, what they provide to the public, and the city's project was ranked #1.
Okay, thank you. All right, seeing no additional questions or comments, is there any public comment? Any public comment?
Mayor Dean, commissioners, and staff. My name is Rob Freistad. I live at the corner of First Street and Davis. I have been here before to talk about this corridor, and I will talk about it again tonight. Plans for this project seem to be dynamic. Do you really know what the outcome will be? This is a poor use of open space funds that were approved by voters to obtain open lands, maintain our trail systems, manage our forests and our trails, and noxious weeds. This particular area is rich in noxious weeds. Paving and expanding a parking lot adjacent to a dirt road that's been a topic of concern for the neighborhood for 30 years. Due to the unreasonable dust, I'm sorry, my phone is doing weird things. Due to the unreasonable dust that road creates is ludicrous, and it creates a feeling amongst the neighborhood that we are not being listened to, that we have talked about this for 30 years and nothing has happened with it. This parking lot is adjacent to a trail originally intended as handicapped accessible. For almost 30 years, this trail has degraded to be anything but handicapped accessible. I suggest monies be spent to simply improve the trail. Neighbors have repeatedly asked for mitigation of traffic speeds along this corridor, and this proposal ignores those requests. Proper procedure was not followed in this proposal, with staff requesting a grant to partially pay for this project before adequate public comment or even commission approval. Please deny approval of this grant so that the people of Helena can once again have their faith in city government restored. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment, please.
Mayor Dean, members of the commission, I'm Tony Jewett, 500 Deal Drive, Helena. I came tonight to talk about the process that led to the decision on the Ford a month ago. I do so because 7 years ago, I was a part of a group of citizens that got deeply involved in a moment of extreme frustration with the lack of transparency and public involvement in public land decisions that had been exhibited by the Department of Parks and Recreation in our town. There was conflicts between trail users. There was projects proposed by favored stakeholders, picked up and moved along by the department. The process was frankly dysfunctional. Along with 200 other Helenans, we formed a group called Helena Hikes. We approached the then city manager, Dennis Taylor, and asked that he take and review this process. He brought a suggestion to the commission to do so. The commission approved it, and they put a halt on all development projects on public lands until a public process took place to define how we did our business as a city. Following a long, hard process where hundreds of stakeholders and diverse interests talked, we put together a consensus agreement formed by a work group that I actually sat on. And the Commission adopted that unanimously and formally appended Chapter 7 of the Helena Open Space Management Plan with those guideposts. There were two hallmarks in that appendix. First, there was the institutionalization of specific public engagement processes and timelines that needed to be followed. And two, it heightened the involvement of the citizen-based partner to the city, HOMAC, who became empowered to help guide and steer major projects. This was not an exercise that was intended to be discretionary for the city. It was a roadmap of expected behavior of transparency and accountability and process for the Department of Parks and Recreation to follow. It was a handshake between the city and an engaged citizenry to act according to established rules. Now we move forward to now. 7 years later, we have the Ford project conceived by a single adjacent landowner's concerns, initiated by the Parks Department without public input, developed in concept outside of public review, submitted for funding, and then unveiled and supported by the department in their December 1st EA, all prior to public engagement. I'm going to run out of time.
You can also submit your comments in writing, too.
Thank you. It doesn't have to go this way. It just doesn't. There's no hurry here. We need the $40,000 of the city that's going to go into this and a lot of other projects that I've heard about just tonight. I urge the Commission to pull this project back, establish a work group of stakeholders to come up with a plan, and there's plenty of them out there that want to reach consensus, and bring it back to the table to the Commission to take another look at this.
Thank you, Mr. Jewett.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And you're welcome to either hand them off to Ms. Claiborne or if you'd like to submit them in writing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, any additional public comment?
I'm watching her. She doesn't start that clock until I start speaking. Mayor Dean, Commissioners, my name is Laura Erickson, E-R-I-K-S-O-N, and I oppose the construction of the DeFord parking area as a standalone project. The project will remove an important currently existing traffic calming element in the roadway. Brad Langsather wrote on justification for the RAC grant, which would fund a portion of new parking area, quote, substantial increases in vehicular traffic volume on Davis Gulch Road have correspondingly decreased safety of vehicles departing the DeFord trailhead, unquote. Indeed, city traffic counts show a 60% increase in vehicular traffic from 2021 to 2024. The proposed change in parking may indeed increase the safety of those using the new parking area, but it will decrease the safety of the many people who walk or bike up Davis and those that live in the Davis corridor. This project, if completed at all, should be completed in conjunction with a roadway project that decreases traffic speeds. While paving the new parking area, the lower dirt section of Davis could also be paved, along with incorporating a physical element to slow unsafe traffic speeds. Examples around town that effectively slow down cars are the table crossings on Broadway and Neal, and the dip at 11th and Warren Street. Lastly, Brad Langsather and David Knopke are smart people. I truly believe that if they were charged with the task, they, along with some community involvement, could figure out a way to use this project in conjunction with a good roadway project to meet the greatest need, which is overall corridor safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Erickson. Is there any additional public comment?
Mayor Dean, Commissioners, my name is Peggy Hollow Phelps. I live up here on 403 Ming Place. I want to thank you for your service and for your time. And if I could, I would underline all of the comments that you just have heard. And I would applaud Ms. Erickson's comments. Just tonight, I've heard some concerns about budget and about process voiced by people up front here. What I want to underline is the concern about public safety. I would ask you, please, please put the brakes on this pavement, this parking lot at the DeVore Trail, and tell you, come forth with a plan that puts brakes on traffic speeds coming down Davis. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Is there any public comment online? Madam Clerk, any public comment online?
Mayor Dean, I have no public comment related to this item, either written or online, and I have no hands raised.
Okay. Any additional comments from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Mayor Dean, thank you. I have shared my concerns about this project from the beginning several times. I'm still concerned. I agree with a lot of the public comment tonight about the process and that it wasn't followed and that it is not going to address speed on the road and will make it even faster. I agree with all that. I am struggling because voting no on a grant does not actually stop the project, as the city attorney clarified. I wish we weren't at this place. And it's hard, you know, as we balance budget and limited grant funds, which I don't see grant funds increasing. So thank you to those who made public comment, because I agree that this is a flawed project, and I think we can do better in our listening and planning. And sorry, I'm getting back to my thought, that I think if the timing is one of my main concerns with this grant, that it was applied for before the public was invited to engage in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gustafson. Any additional comments from the commission? One comment I would have before we entertain a motion. And we talked about this at the last meeting when we discussed the project. Oftentimes we'll have projects that can be impacted by two different departments, and those are funded in different ways. Because Parks is a general fund department, they're often much more limited in the funds that are available, and so I have been a big supporter, and the commission as a whole, we've been asking staff to be aggressive in going after grants to help reduce impacts to the general fund, and this grant does that. I believe that the purpose of this is to make the trail accessible with accessible parking that is safe for people coming and going. I don't think that necessarily the streets conversation is an important one, and I have brought this up to the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the our new planning entity for transportation, because the community has grown. I did look, and so far we only had, I think, one public comment for public safety in our long-range transportation planning comment period. So I would very much encourage folks to be sure that you are noting that when you're engaging in other processes, and I've asked the city manager to work with the MPO in getting additional feedback from Davis neighbors and helping address this issue so that we are addressing the traffic issues from a streets perspective in our overall planning documents. So with that, if there are no, yes, Commissioner Logan.
I would like to offer a comment. I will be supporting this should a motion be made. And as I said at the last meeting where this was approved, I think Mr. Langsather has brought forward a very thoughtful project. I think we talked at length about the public process that led to this. We got assurance from Mr. Langsather and the city attorney of at least a dozen meetings that were held for public input. I think it improves the safety of the area. Last meeting, we watched a video where we saw a lot going on in that with conflict between vehicular traffic and pedestrians and cyclists. And I think this will improve safety. It'll also improve access for those with mobility issues, opportunity for rehabilitation of the area and the trails that cross through that. So I will be supporting this. I would be happy also to make a motion when the time comes.
Right. If there are no additional comments, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Logan.
I move to approve grant agreement number 26-CS-110500-004 between the City of Helena, the USDA, the Forest Service, and the Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest to assist in the funding of the DeFord Trail Improvement Project as proposed and approved by the Helena Lewis and Clark Resource Advisory Committee in July of 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no additional comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed?
No.
Commissioner Rigby?
Aye.
Commissioner Logan?
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson?
No.
Mayor Dean?
Aye.
The motion carries 3-2.
All right, we will move on to item B, consider approval of the Downtown Urban Renewal District Work Plan for FY 2026. Director Brink.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Mayor, if you'll allow, I'd like to do these three items together with one presentation with the understanding that these have to be voted on separately.
And by three items, we're talking about the downtown,
The three
Capitol
work
Hill
plans.
Mall, and Railroad URD work plans.
Yes, ma'am. Again, these three items are the consideration of the approval of the downtown, Railroad, and Capitol Hill Urban Renewal District work plans for fiscal year 26. The Helena Urban Renewal TIF Advisory Board has recommended prioritization of the downtown, Capitol Hill, and Railroad urban renewal plans goals. The priorities for funding were unanimously ranked and recommended for approval as follows. For the downtown, those are in order. 1, add to downtown vibrancy with a mix of uses. 2, upgrade underperforming properties. 3, invest in public infrastructure needed to attract development. 4, improve connections. And 5, reinvigorate the Rodney Street Commercial Center. For the, excuse me, my tabs are sticking together. For the Capitol Hill priorities, those are as follows in this order. 1, improve streetscape and connectivity, redevelop, rehabilitate, and re-tenant underutilized and underperforming properties. 3, improve infrastructure for redevelopment. 4, improve the neighborhood center area. And 5, address the district's housing needs. And lastly, for the Railroad Urban Renewal District, those priorities are as follows. 1, increase property utilization and function, address public infrastructure needs, create an inviting venue, expand and diversify the district's economy, and lastly, emphasize the district's historic importance. With these, the Advisory Board also recommends that applicants may request up to 75% match for projects less than or equal to $10,000 and up to 50% match funding for all projects greater than $10,000. As I mentioned in our work session, that's different from what we've done in the past. It's been reversed. It was 50% for anything over $10,000. However, it was only up to 25% for those projects equal to or less than 10. So we've taken a different approach, greater importance on smaller projects. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation, but to conclude, staff does recommend that the commission move to approve the Railroad Urban Renewal District Work Plan, the Downtown Urban Renewal District Work Plan, and the Capitol Hill Urban Renewal District Work Plan for fiscal year 26. And I'm here for any questions if there are any.
Okay, questions or comments for Director Brink? Dr. Brink, can you briefly just talk about we've had a conversation about the grant cycles. Can you talk about thoughts moving forward?
So Mayor and Commission, yes, we've talked in the past of a funding or an application cycle. Staff is not recommending any funding cycle yet. We're proposing that they're open-ended, which means we'll just take them at any time. We'll process them. Just to get money out the door, these funds are substantial, relatively speaking, to our overall general budget, but they are fairly large and they've not been touched in quite some time. So in the interest of funding projects expeditiously, we would like to just have an open funding cycle in the interim, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe in the next 6 months, come back and revise these work plans for another structure. In the past, funding structures or application cycles have been monthly for the railroad. For the downtown, they've been biannually or twice a year. So in the interest of competition and projects to be able to rank in a funding cycle, yes, that does make sense. But right now, we would just like to get dollars out the door because they've just been sitting there and they're taxpayer dollars and they've not been utilized.
Yeah. I think for folks who are just tuning in, can you explain, these are not tax dollars that are just available to, can you talk about how TIF actually works?
Very briefly, without going into too much detail, yes. So within the 3 districts, the businesses and property owners in that pay into the increment based on the difference between the set property value when the TIF district was created and then any increase in value after the establishment of the TIF district. Those increments go into a fund to be used solely within those districts. Those funds cannot be used outside of the districts. They can't be intermingled within the districts. But they must be used for a certain set of projects. One, how we prioritize those, and also how the state outlays how we can spend those dollars is strictly limited to a certain set of guidelines.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. I think I've asked this before, but there's still some vacancies on some of the board to rule them all. Sorry, I forget the
Mayor and
acronym.
Commission, we're fortunate that we have enough for a quorum, and I think we're maybe too shy of a full complement of 11 members. So we're not far off. With a little bit more work by the commission and the mayor, we hopefully could get those filled. But we're close.
Great. I'll just repeat my comment. I always say I encourage people to apply. The application is easy.
Mayor,
If they fit the qualifications.
Well, if I may, I think the only 2 that were left is one representative from the railroad and one from Capitol Hill. The makeup of that representation, I'm not quite sure, but I think those are the 2 districts.
Great. And it's the fund board. You get to allocate money.
Sure.
All right. Seeing no additional comments, is there any public comment on this item? And this first one is the Downtown Urban Renewal District Work Plan. So any public comment on the Downtown Urban Renewal District Work Plan? Okay, seeing none and no additional comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Reed.
I move to approve the Downtown Urban Renewal District Work Plan for FY26.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson,
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, we will move along to the Capitol Hill Mall Urban Renewal District Work Plan. Any questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the Capitol Hill Mall Urban Renewal District Work Plan? Any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Logan.
I move to approve the Capitol Hill Mall Urban Renewal District Work Plan for FY26.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no additional comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson,
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we'll move on to the Railroad Urban Renewal District Work Plan. Any comments from the commission? Just want to, we did not say thank you to you, Director Brink, your office has been spending a long time on this, and we're grateful that we're getting to this point to be more targeted and strategic in how these funds are being allocated, so thank you. All right. Seeing no additional comments, I will entertain a motion. Oh, actually, wait, public comment. Is there any public comment on the Railroad Urban Renewal District Work Plan? Any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment in the room or online, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
I move to approve the Railroad Urban Renewal District Work Plan for FY '26.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Seeing no further comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, regular item E, consider an ordinance amending City of Helena Ordinance Number 3097 and the official zoning map for the City of Helena that changes the zoning district from R2 residential to public lands and institutions for a property and set a public hearing date.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight, I have, as stated, I have a proposal for you for a zone change from R2 to PLI for property owned by Helena College. More specifically, this is consideration of an ordinance amending City of Helena Ordinance Number 3097 in the official zoning map for the City of Helena that changes the zoning district from R2 residential to public lands and institutions for the property legally described as Tract B1, being a portion of Tract B on the certificate of survey filed under document number 510969, as disclosed by certificate of survey filed under document number 517897, records of Lewis and Clark County, Montana, and to set a public hearing for August 17th, 2026. This property is generally located on the intersection of North Harris Street and Townsend Avenue on the southeast corner here. Immediately adjacent to the north is Robinson Park, zoned PLI. To the west is Ramey Park in the Helena High School practice field. Just above that is Helena College. To the south of this are two uses in the R2 that are PLI appropriate. Directly south along Harris Street is the former Florence Crittenton property, which is now owned by the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch. And next to that, to the east, is St. Mary's Catholic Community, owned by the diocese. The applicant is seeking a zone change to PLI. This PLI zoning will conform with the institutional uses in the vicinity, as noted. And this PLI zoning will create a by right land use, removing a CUP that was granted for that existing parking lot for Helena College in 2006. As defined by City Code in our land use plan, the R2 residential districts provide for residential dwellings and limited non-residential development. The PLI districts provide for and apply only to public and quasi-public institutional uses. And then our urban residential district, which is what this was determined to be in our land use plan, are areas located near Helena's core and designed to support moderate to high-density residential. These areas should offer a diverse mix of housing options, and additionally, they should support compatible commercial uses, such as small-scale retail, cafes, and professional offices to encourage mixed-use sort of communities and neighborhoods. When evaluating this zone change, Montana Code 762304 lists the criteria and guidelines. These zoning regulations must be made in accordance with the growth policy, designed to secure from fire and other dangers, promote public health, public safety, and general welfare, and facilitate the adequate provision of transportation, water, sewerage, schools, parks, and other requirements. In the adoption of these, this body shall consider reasonable provision of light and air, the effect on motorized and non-motorized transportation, compatible growth, the character of the district, and conserving the value of buildings and encouraging the most appropriate use. As stated, this area is urban residential. This subject property is tied to the institutional uses within the railroad district that are typically designated PLI. This property, being R2, primarily only allows for residential use. It does not allow for the limited commercial use that is encouraged by this urban residential district. And then rezoning this property to PLI will create an expansion of the existing PLI and will bridge similar uses by zoning. Additionally, the land use plan notes this as being a site of future infill development, as it is owned by the State Board of Regents. It most likely will never be a residential development, so bringing it to PLI encourages its use as infill. This property is served by all City of Helena services and utilities. This is a 3.65 acre parcel. It would be expected to generate up to 1,250 trips per day in PLI. A residential development within this would be expected to only generate about 209 trips per day. But this elevated number for PLI is generated mostly by administrative government offices as a potential use there. If traffic is evaluated just on the uses within the area that are PLI appropriate, healthcare, schools, and worship facilities, it cuts the estimated traffic down to a little below half of that at 611. Department reviews, transportation felt that all materials provided were sufficient for this zone change request, but requested that additional consideration be given to traffic control methods when they apply for further building permits. Fire stated that any work would need to be reviewed against the current fire code. Public Works, Utility, and Police provided no comment on this. Within our land use plan, there are two key actions that this supports. Supporting property owners, residents, and nonprofit organizations to bring properties in compliance with city codes, and to promote infill development in the redevelopment of underutilized parcels. For zoning compatibility, this proposed zoning would support the framework of institutional uses and adhere to the objectives of the land use plan, and it would not give the subject property any unique rights or privileges. Public notice and comments. The Planning Commission meeting was legally noticed in the IR on May 23rd. Neighbor notices were sent to property owners within 150 feet, and additionally along Harris Street, which would be the perceived corridor of most impact. On May 21st, public notice sign was placed on the site that same week on the 22nd. The Planning Commission did vote for a recommendation of approval of this at their June 9th meeting. As of today, 0 comments have been received. And as stated, the public hearing for this in front of the City Commission is intended for August 17th. And with that, it is city staff's recommendation to move to approve an ordinance amending the City of Helena Ordinance number 3097 in the official zoning map for the City of Helena that changes the district from R2 residential to public lands and institutions for the previously described legal description, and to set a public hearing for August 17th, 2026. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for your time. Are there any questions for city staff?
Thank you, Mr. Holland. Any questions for Mr. Holland on this item? Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Mr. Holland, you might have said this and I might have missed it. Why is the public hearing August 17th? Does it have to be that, like, 30 days or something?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, Commissioner Gustafson, it's required to be 30 days between the regular item and the public hearing one, so that is the first meeting greater than 30 days.
Great. Any additional questions for Mr. Holland? Commissioner Gustafson?
Thank you, Mayor Dean. You saw my face.
I did.
How, and you may not know this, but why didn't the zone, when the property changed to be owned by the Board of Regents, why didn't the zoning change happen then? And why now? Because of the land use plan, our new land use plan?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Commissioner Gustafson, in 2006, there was a proposal to rezone this to PLI at that time to create this parking lot use that is currently on the site. At that time, parking lots were a conditional use in R2 zoning, and it was found to be an easier task to proceed with this as a conditional use versus the zone change at that then. Parking lots are no longer a conditional use in R2 zoning. They are now not permitted. This zone change would bring that back into operating by right so that changes could be made to the current configuration that are not possible presently under the conditional use permit condition.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments? All right, thank you, Mr. Holland.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment on this item? Mr. Worth.
Good evening, Mayor Dean, Commissioners. My name is Greg Worth with Staley Engineering. I'm here on behalf of the Helena Public School District as the applicant and the State of Montana Board of Regents Helena College as the property owner. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Holland for the presentation and helping us navigate the zone change process. So the zone changes on the property is currently owned by the State of Montana from R2 zoning to PLI. The property is currently used as a 100-space parking lot by the Helena College and is currently allowed by a conditional use permit. The zone change will allow the use of the parking lot by Helena High during the Helena High rebuild, new school construction, and allow the future use by Helena College. The future use of Helena College is undetermined at this time. Any expected future use will be consistent with the PLI zoning. Helena College currently has no immediate plans for the property. Reviewing the zoning analysis, the proposed zone change, it is consistent with the land use plan. The property is currently served by all city services, and it is compatible with the adjacent PLI uses and commercial uses. This was presented to the Planning Commission on June 9th and was recommended for approval. There was discussion about, changing the property to from residential, knowing there's lack of residential opportunities in Helena, but it was also noted that the property is currently owned by the State of Montana that generally does not relinquish property, and the State of Montana would likely not develop this as a residential use, so it is more appropriate to have it as a PLI use. And there also was discussion about the traffic, the impacts, and noted that, as you see the numbers up there, and it's just, in reality, as the Planning Commission noted, those traffic numbers are generally never materialized, in real-world applications. So, we've reviewed the staff report and agree with the recommendation of the Planning Commission that we concur with the recommendation of approval. I'm available to answer any questions. We also have representatives from the school district and Helena College in attendance. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Mr. Worth. Is there any additional public comment? Any additional public comment? Okay, any final comments or questions from the commission? Nope. All right, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean.
Yes, Commissioner Reed.
I move to recommend approval of an ordinance amending City of Helena Ordinance Number 3097 and the official zoning map for the City of Helena that changes the zoning district from R2 residential to public lands and institutions for the property previously legally described, and to set a public hearing for August 17th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no additional comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we will move on to item F. Consider a resolution of intention to vacate a portion of Livingston Avenue, Sanders Street, the alley in Block 32A of Conrad Stafford addition to the city, and release the alley easement. Director Knopke.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. This is a resolution of intention, as you stated, to vacate a portion of Livingston Avenue, Sanders, between Livingston and Townsend. And so we went through our normal process for vacation. We checked and sent out letters to existing utilities just to make sure. There are some power lines that run north and south along the west edge of the property that the Northwestern requested to preserve an easement for them to work on, which shouldn't be that big an issue for this piece of property. The college is requesting that the commission consider waiving the vacation transfer fee in lieu of the extensive right-of-way improvements and maintenance which the college has made over the years, over $840,000. At this time, our recommendation is to approve this resolution of intention to grant a petition to vacate the south 26 feet of Livingston Avenue adjacent to Block 32A of the Conrad Stafford addition, that portion of Sanders Street line between Livingston Avenue and Townsend Avenue, the alley in Block 32A, and of the Conrad Stafford addition, and release that portion of a previously vacated west alley easement located under the college building. If approved, a public hearing is to be set for the 20th of July. Should say item 10. Sorry, Mayor and Commissioner, I got a little ahead of myself, but this is the map portraying the vacation areas that the college is requesting. The easements there, the west half, the right-of-way for the alley had been vacated some years ago. Not sure why the east half remained, but it did. So we're cleaning up a little bit out here. But that portion of Livingston there is just that southern half that encompasses where they're currently parking, and then that piece of Sanders between Livingston and Townsend. The college owns all the properties adjacent to that piece. I'd be happy to answer any questions on this. Staff recommends moving forward with this. It works out for both the college and the city in many aspects.
All right, questions or comments for Dr. Knopke? Nope. Yep, Commissioner Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. In the, Director Knopke, in the packet, there was exhibits A and B, but I didn't see them. So here's my question. Is anything changing with the, okay, so, because it's already angle parking on these streets, so the number of spots is staying the same. It's just who owns the spots. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor and Commission. This primarily is so that they can start doing their own enforcement in those those spaces that are in the public right-of-way for their students, to ensure that their students have adequate parking and to move along those who shouldn't be parking there.
Okay, so to clarify, or to repeat what you're saying, they wouldn't have been able to enforce it if it was still public right-of-way?
Yes.
Got it, thanks.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments? All right, seeing none, is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment on the vacation? Yes, President Baumann.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the Commission. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Sandra Baumann. I'm the Dean CEO at Helena College. I want to take a moment to thank the Commission for hearing our request and in particular the members of the Transportation Department for all their assistance in this process. We really believe this is the best way to move forward in keeping our neighborhood safe as we work to be good partners in all of the exciting changes that are happening in and around the neighborhood that the college is in. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about our request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there any additional public comment? Any additional public comment? Any final questions from the Commission? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Yes, Commissioner Logan.
Went the wrong way. So I would move to approve a resolution of intention to grant a petition to vacate the south 26 feet of Livingston Avenue adjacent to Block 32A of the Conrad Stafford addition. That portion of Sanders Street lying between Livingston Avenue and Townsend Avenue, the alley in Block 32A of the Conrad Stafford addition, and release that portion of the previously vacated west alley easement located under the college building. If approved, a public hearing to be set for July 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no additional comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed. Aye. Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we will move along to public hearings. Public hearing item A, consider a resolution to set fees charged for disposal of garbage and refuse at the City of Helena Transfer Station and repeal Resolution 21000. Director Leland.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. I'll pull up the presentation. Okay. We'll get started while she's pulling up the presentation. Staff is requesting or recommending that we increase the tipping fee for the transfer station by $6 a ton. The tipping fee is comprised of two different elements. One is the landfill tipping fee that we move everything through that is controlled by Lewis and Clark County and managed by the City of Helena through an interlocal agreement. And then the tipping fee itself for the facility that we are asking for the increase. The landfill tipping fee is $22 a ton, and the transfer station tipping fee is proposed to be $42.75 a ton. This will not affect any of the permit holders. You'll still get your 3,000 pounds to be able to dispose of, but it will affect the cash customers coming forward if you have a commercial account or go over your 3,000 pounds, or any of the scratch gravel residents to go over their permit. This is being requested because it's an aging infrastructure. The facility is getting very old. It is very well used and taking its toll. We're seeing upwards of 185,000 vehicles a year. It's one of the biggest in the state, and you're starting to see the tipping floor take a beating and needing some repairs to it. The entrance, which you saw just to be able to get done, the scale house, the scales are at the end of life and are needing to be improved, and then determining on what happens coming up of how the scale house needs to be redesigned because of the volumes. We may have to increase and add another scale house to be able to get people in and out of it, because we are seeing significant queuing, and these are all recommendations that came out of the Integrated Solid Waste Master Plan. The other big item that you will see is we will be able to get a shredder and an excavator that we will see a payback 5 to 7 years, because it'll reduce the mattresses that we have, the private contract that we have for green waste, and be able to manage our waste instead of piling it up. As you can see, that is very, very big. We can actually do some of the shredding as we see fit and not have to carry so much of the green waste and be able to help our composting operations out at the landfill better so we don't have just big plugs of green waste going forward. So that is what we'll be implementing with this. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, questions or comments for Director Leland? Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Mayor Dean, thank you, Director Leland. You said, I heard something new this time, that our facility is one of the busiest in the state. Are our tipping rates significantly lower? Are folks driving long ways? Or is it just why are we the busiest?
Mayor, Commissioner, you can't really, around the state, solid waste is implemented in so many different ways. You have private collectors, you have private landfills, you have some that have transfer stations, some that don't have transfer stations. One that makes us one of the busiest that is out there is because we are combined with the county. With the scratch gravel district that is out there, they can get private hauling, which is currently done by Republic, and they're the only ones that are licensed to be able to do that out in the county. So we are seeing a big influx as some of the increases for private collection out in the county comes up. More of the scratch gravel residents are coming into the facility to haul their own waste. So that is just why we are seeing it more than others in the state. It's hard because some counties have transfer stations, some don't, some can't go to the landfill. So it's just, it's a mixed bag.
Right, additional questions for Director Leland? All right, seeing no additional questions, thank you, Director Leland. Is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment? All right, seeing no public comment and no additional commission discussion, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean.
Yes, Commissioner Reed.
I move to approve a resolution to set fees charged for disposal of garbage and refuse at the City of Helena Transfer Station and repeal Resolution 21000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
I apologize, so it was moved and seconded.
It was moved and seconded, yes.
Can I get who made the motion?
Moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Reed. And seconded by
Logan.
Logan. Appreciate that. Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we'll move on to item B, consider an ordinance to update the City of Helena's parking enforcement by amending chapters 11, 12, 13, 14, and 21 of Title 8 of the Helena City Code. Director Konopky.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. I found this one. So this is the same parking revisions that we had talked about earlier. There is one revision that has been made that are proposing due to some public comment. And that's this piece right here at 811-1 D and E over parked vehicles. As you recall, the overparked vehicles is going to take place with the abandoned vehicles. Overparked vehicles will be considered overparked after 72 hours, and they will receive a parking citation. So in this, the concern that was brought up is that it says an A, vehicle, motor vehicle, or trailer left on a city street, alley, roadway, or public property over 72 hours without being moved shall be declared an overparked vehicle. So the public property one was the concern because our parking garages and surface lots are public property. So staff is proposing that piece in purple. Doesn't look that purplish to me, but an exception for those vehicles parked with a permit issued by the city for city-owned parking structures and surface lots. So that should rectify that concern. And then the other E there is just to, in a enforcement zone, a vehicle parked without payment over 24 hours can be deemed overparked as well. These are the no parking areas that we went over. These are just some additions that we have to our existing list, just to clarify some areas, such as in a designated or in a private lot without a permit. So the city does at times do private or do lot enforcement for private lots, and this, that would be in this case. And then it seems trivial, but in a vehicle in a vehicle travel lane of the city rights of way, so people parking double parked. And then 5, 6, and 8, those are sections that we're proposing to be deleted. The parking of trucks in officially zoned residential districts, no parking at schools was redundant language, and the parking time limits. This is the section of code on disability parking. This was in light of previously or currently, staff could not ticket a vehicle that was parked in a handicapped space because of the designation within the code, and that a Helena police officer would have to issue that citation. And it wasn't a citation to the vehicle, it was a citation to the driver. So in order to issue that citation, the officer would have to hang around and wait for that driver to come back. So in light of that, with a lot of public comment behind this, this is the change. Part of this change is that it expands the authority of not just police officers, but code enforcement officers for the city. And just we rewrote this to clarify all the pieces and parts, but primarily so that those people that don't have placards or designated plates are not parking in those valuable spaces around the downtown. This revision for parking for camping, very easily. Before it said, or within a half mile of the city limits. The city cannot enforce outside the city limits, so that's why this was taken out. And then just additional language that was either duplicative or redundant. And here's a lot more. A lot of these had to do with the parking meters that we used to have. We used to have some electronic parking meters, the bubblegum machines, but we have gotten rid of those in light of more 2-hour parking and other parking designations. Again, there's a lot of redundancy in language, like you see notice of violation up there several times, responsibility of violations, some outdated code language for taxi cab and bus parking. This tow and immobilized vehicle section, in working with the city attorney's office to revamp so that we're providing as much notice to those people that have the potential be towed on their booted vehicles. So these are those revisions that, like I said, working with the city attorney's office, that we felt were prudent to make those changes this time around. And then this is just the mobilization procedure. Some of this had to be revised due to the language for the booting. So our revised recommend motion is we recommend approval of the parking ordinance revisions as presented and as amended by the Transportation Systems Director to allow for an exception to the 72-hour overparked deadline for those vehicles parked with a permit issued by the city for city-owned parking structures and surface lots. And I would be happy to answer any questions about these revisions and potential changes.
Okay, questions or comments from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
Thank you. For City Attorney, Doctor, are you comfortable with all of these?
Mayor, Commissioner Rigby, thank you. I am. We have worked extensively with Director Konopke, and I am comfortable with all of these. I will make one clarification, if I may, Mayor. And it's in here, you can see it, there is a municipal infraction reference. That municipal infraction code will be coming before you on July 20th. We had to separate them because, as you know, we've had long meetings. And so that will be forthcoming yet. There is no concern with them being enforceable separately, but I just wanted to clarify in case there was a question about that.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Dean, and thank you, Director Knapke. I'm glad you got that change for parking garages, and this might be an obvious question that doesn't need to be in code, but I believe some areas we have no overnight parking signs on some parking lots. This wouldn't, that exception wouldn't supersede that, like, specific signing, or how would that interplay if it's no overnight parking in a public parking lot? Or maybe I'm thinking of the street.
Mayor and Commissioners, I don't think so. I don't think this would have interaction because it's specifically signed. We have on the top of our parking decks, no overnight parking during November and April, and that's specifically so that we can do the maintenance when it snows. But I will defer to the city attorney if she has an opinion, if I'm wrong.
No, okay. All right, any additional questions or comments from the commission? I've comment and a question. First, thank you for being responsive to the public comment that we got from, it was actually the resident's daughter. I think that was a really thoughtful amendment, and I'm glad that we're including that tonight for clarifying language. My question is around the private lot enforcement. I know we used to do Great Northern parking lot, which is a privately owned lot that we would contract enforcement with. I don't believe we do that anymore. Are there any other lots that we're contracting with right now?
Mayor and Commissioner, no.
Okay.
We used to do some smaller lots here and there, but over time they've changed and just haven't. But we still have the ability to do that. They're in our fee schedule. So that is an option for those folks out there with private lots.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, any additional questions or comments from the commission? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment in the room or online, I will entertain a motion, seeing no additional commission comments.
Mayor Dean?
Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
I recommend approval of the ordinance updating the City of Helena's parking enforcement by amending chapters 11, 12, 13, 14, and 21 of Title 8 of the Helena City Code.
Mayor Dean,
Yes.
question, do we need the
That's what
alternate
I'm
motion?
wondering.
It went away.
Can we pull up the amended language?
Yes. Sorry, Commissioner.
You gotta put it on the teleprompter.
It's up there. You just turn on the screen.
Go ahead.
The revised recommended motion, I move to approve of the parking ordinance revisions as presented and as amended by the Transportation Systems Director to allow for an exception to the 72-hour overparked deadline for those vehicles parked with a permit issued by the city for city-owned parking structures and surface lots.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, I think what we will do now is let's take a 10-minute recess so we can stretch our legs before we go into the last few items and public comment. So with that, let's take a 10-minute recess, 11-minute recess, and come back at 7:45. Director Konopki, if everyone could go ahead and take their seats so we can start item C. With Director Konopki, this is consider an ordinance updating and clarifying Helena's sidewalk code by amending chapters 4 and 8 of Title 7 of the Helena City Code.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We'll run through these changes really quick. Get my mouse on the right page here. So the first piece of this is 742B1F. So before it had major renovations and of a principal structure, which was fairly general. So we took a piece from other part of code to kind of define that, to give some percentages so that it was more predictable for people moving forward. This one, before it was the property owner could, on unimproved, basically we wanted to just expand the flexibility for people to defer their sidewalks. But as you've been aware, the deferral of sidewalks comes with a certified or a recorded letter, recorded statement on their property that goes with the property that they won't protest a SID in the area if and when the city goes through there and improves the sidewalks and curb and gutter. The revisions to 748, this one came out of a attorney's conference, and I'll let the city attorney go into a little bit more detail, but there's, this is essentially our language with some added clarification in there, but I'll let the attorney talk about this one.
Mayor, Commissioners, I think we've talked about this a couple of times, but just for clarification, it is a change from the current code actually requires that the city notify a property owner if their sidewalk is in disrepair before they would be responsible to make changes. The intention never was to do that. It was intended to be, and it's a recommendation from MMIA, our insurance provider. It's a recommendation from an attorney that has represented us in slip and fall cases, and it is best practices for municipalities to make it clear that it's the property owner, abutting property owner's responsibility to keep their sidewalk in good repair. And if we see it, then we notify them. We can give them time to repair it. If they don't, we can make the changes to it and then put it on their tax bill. But ultimately, it's the property owner's responsibility. So, thanks, unless there's anything else. That's it.
This one's a quick housekeeping. It talked about paved or brick sidewalk. Paved can mean concrete or asphalt, but we felt that to clarify this would just be sidewalks. And then this is a section for snow and ice removal. As you recall, in B2 and B3 zoning, they had to have their snow removed by 9 o'clock of the next business, or 12 of the next non-business day, or 4 hours after the snow fell. It was a little cumbersome, and in light of the other language for the property owners to be responsible, we just felt that we would just include that language in here. So there are no, as you can see, time limits in here. It's just the responsibility of the adjacent property owner to remove the snow in a reasonable manner. So with that, we would still follow, whether it's a business or residential process, our current process that if we receive a service request that sidewalks aren't shoveled, our code enforcement goes out, verifies whether it's shoveled or not. If it's not, hang a door hanger up so that the property owner is aware that we'll be returning in 24 hours. In 24 hours, if the snow is still there, we can choose to remove that and then send them a bill accordingly. So with that, I'll take any questions and the recommended motion is up there, and I'll leave it there this
Great.
time.
Questions or comments for Director Konopki? Okay, yes,
Nadine.
Commissioner Rigby.
I think Attorney Doctor already said it, but I think everything's good in here.
Mayor, Commissioner Rigby, thanks for letting me speak again. Yes, I'm good with everything. Worked with the director. Thank you.
All right. Okay, seeing no additional questions or comments, is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment on the sidewalk code amendments? Okay, seeing no public comment in the room or online, any final thoughts from the commission? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Logan.
I move the approval of an ordinance updating and clarifying Helena's sidewalk code by amending Chapter 4 and 8 of Title 7 of the Helena City Code.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Seeing no final comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item D, Director Konopki, consider a resolution to remove certain residential parking districts.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. So this is born out of Resolution 20071, and one of the requirements that the commission put on the parking division is to revisit each one of these residential parking districts and ensure there's 50% participation. Originally, as you recall, there was Benton South, Logan Street, and East Broadway. As of this afternoon, double-checked. As before, Benton South had come off prior to the first reading of this, and as I checked this afternoon, East Broadway had surpassed that 50% threshold, so the only parking district that we're recommending to take off of the list is Logan Street, and our recommended approval, or we recommend approval of a resolution to remove certain residential parking districts identified in the resolution as amended. And like I said, the only amendment in that resolution will be Logan Street Residential Parking District, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments from the commission?
Mayor
Commissioner
Dean,
Logan.
so for Director Konopki, the motion that we have in the packet is sufficient?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Right, is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, any additional comments from the commission? All right, seeing, Commissioner Gustafson? No. Okay, all right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
I move to approve a resolution to remove certain residential parking districts identified in the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no final comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we will move along to general public comment. Is there any general public comment on any item not discussed on tonight's agenda?
Hello, my name is Dwight Gakutno. Mayor and Commissioners, let me remind you, in case you have forgotten, that over a year ago, Christopher Martinez was abducted here in Helena. Your community continues to be afraid and enraged by his abduction. Christopher's wife, Maria, is forced to raise her kids alone without Christopher. Maria's family is one of many immigrant families to leave Helena after feeling unsafe and unsupported. This was not an isolated incident. Just a week ago on Monday, the 29th, 17 men were held in the ICE facility within city limits in a 200-foot room. The abductions continue to happen over and over again, and you know what you do? You close your eyes and you turn the other way. You continue to deny what is happening, even when families are being ripped apart. Here in Helena, day after day. Since July, you have told your citizens that you would make sure no city resources would be used on federal immigration enforcement, including HPD collaborating with ICE. Yet you refuse to commit this in writing, to commit to this for the long run, and allow land within city limits to be used for detainments without due process. You have turned your back on your community, refusing to fight for your community's resolution and their safety. Why should the people of Helena pass a public safety levy when since last July, your citizens have told you that they see this resolution as public safety? You have made it abundantly clear that your only concerns are with a failing golf course restaurant that you subsidize, roundabouts, and paved parking lots that your citizens do not want or care about. You talk about tourism while our community members are being taken right before our eyes. We are lectured and told to talk to our local representatives. You are our most direct representative. Get to work. Stop sitting there pretending like you care. The safety levy will not pass unless the resolution is reinstated before March. Helena will not forget your actions. This community will continue to remember, and we will continue to show up. Many people in your community came here tonight in support of reinstating the resolution, in support of local governance, in support of local resources not being used by federal immigration enforcement for the long term, in solidarity with Christopher Martinez to stand against the abduction of your neighbors.
Thank you. Next public comment, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the commission. My name is Shani Henry. I am a local citizen who has been very involved with the City Commission regarding immigration's issues over the past year. I, like many citizens, was mortified a year ago with what happened to Christopher Martinez, and I am now again horrified by the recent events in Gallatin County. Our community has stood tall in large numbers multiple times over the past year to convey to you our values and to push for fair and lawful treatment of our immigrant friends and neighbors. We also want to support and protect our local law enforcement by trying to prevent the horrid situations we have witnessed ICE subject other local agencies to. Helena citizens like me demand that the city not support ICE activity whenever legally possible. This includes allowing the use of any city collateral, staff, and property. I know that I am personally very disturbed by the reported use of city property near the airport recently. I implore you to have the utmost transparency regarding this issue. We deserve that. As we anticipate our city most certainly will face an escalation similar to Gallatin County anytime soon, we must be preemptive in any possible way. As we also face a likely safety levy, we must be able to trust that our city resources not go to support the horrors we have seen across the country. We want Helena to be better than that. We, the citizens of Helena, implore you to do everything in your power to protect our immigrant neighbors in any way possible and to also protect our local law enforcement and city resources. We recognize that this is a very complicated situation, and we respect the difficult situation you are put in. But we remind you that we expect strong leadership, and we also expect that you stand tall to defend the values your community has told you we hold to be dear. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. Next public comment, please.
Hello, Mayor Dean and members of the commission. My name is Martha Cole, K-O-H-L. And I'm here tonight because I was horrified to read this morning about the roundup in Gallatin County this weekend. And I was appalled to learn that people are being confined overnight in the Helena hold room, sometimes in overcrowded conditions. I'm confused and disturbed that city staff doesn't consider a site that imprisons people like this to be a jail, and thus in violation of city zoning. And so I'd ask that the commission instruct staff to re-examine their ruling, and I'd also like you to reconsider Helena's anti-ICE resolution. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. But it seems to me that caving to the Attorney General's threats without finding out if they're legally enforceable is caving to bullying in the face of evil. So thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Next public comment.
Mayor Dean, commission members, staff. My name's Elizabeth Hale. I live in Helena. It's good to acknowledge our concern about our friends and local residents. It's difficult to see change to the status quo, but there are some givens. Our Attorney General has referenced our 2021 state law prohibiting sanctuary cities. Federal funding would be decreased, we understand, if we pursued such a path. I think we were told it was $14 million reduction. At the Civic Center, when we had that big meeting recently, a lot of people were concerned about the sanctuary city policy. I think maybe the crowd was split 50-50. Meanwhile, there's concerns about property tax increases, seniors having to leave their homes because taxes go up. There's Helena budget stress. And we heard that the expenditure on legal fees and staff costs is maybe $125,000 or more. There's no light at the end of this spending tunnel if we keep pursuing that. Certainly, we were advised to go talk to the Attorney General on the side. That's not going to go anyplace. Our legal advisor's advice was it would be prudent and wise to continue our current path. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next public comment.
City Commissioners, good evening. This is Lily Clark. I'm going to correct something on the record that of a FOIA request that was put in with the city, exactly $24,700 was spent on renting the Civic Center, and it's unclear where the rest of the inflated values come from. So these are lies that continue unless this is staff time, which I will remind the city is your job. And if it's because of increased police force at your meetings, that is your choice and not of the public's. Another thing is that you put $17,000 into paying for a lawyer that wrote a supposedly legally sound resolution that you have refused to bring forward to the city. And as you've made your budget priority, you have put $4,000 toward the DeFord parking lot, $1.5 million toward a roundabout, and over $100,000 toward a failing restaurant, rather than committing funds toward what your citizens are actually asking for. So, for the record, at the special meeting, there were 11 people against and 78 for continuing forward with the resolution. At the night that you voted, there were 5 against the resolution and 482 for it. It is not a divisive or even split. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Is there additional public comment?
To the mayor and the city commissioners. My name is Thelma Simon, and I'm a resident of Helena. I came here in support of reinstating the resolution. It's something that we worked really hard for, and we were going to bring it up again, and it hasn't been brought up again, even though I came to all these meetings and that was what was stated. So I just want to say that I never heard the word sanctuary city in all the time we talked about this resolution. It didn't even come up, so I don't know. I guess somebody thought that, but that's not what was intended. And I just want to make one thing I read about just recently, that Helena expedited the change you used for a 200 square foot space for holding immigrants on city property. And that was written up, I just read it. But could not expedite, as they told us in November that they would, inspect the churches for the cold weather shelters. So I'm trying to figure out how come something that was said was going to be done in November never got done in time for all the cold weather we had this winter, but something that has been changed in a very short time so that they could hold immigrants in a 200 square foot building, 17 people. So I just want to say, I don't understand why we gave in. You know, I was taught never to give in to a bully, but I think that it needs to be brought up again. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? All right, seeing no additional public comment in the room, Madam Clerk, any public comment online?
Mayor Dean, I have 2 hands raised, and I have multiple comments written in the Q&A. First, with their hand raised online, I have Mary Ann Dunwell.
Ms. Dunwell?
Good evening, Mayor Dean, members of the City Commission. Thank you for hearing my comment. My name is Mary Ann Dunwell. I'm a resident of the City of Helena in the Mountain Views area, and I am also a state senator, and I represent the eastern part of the City of Helena, as well as a bunch of other places. But I am commenting tonight regarding something that Commissioner Reed said at the start of this meeting. She requested that you add the resolution to the next or subsequent agendas, the resolution separating the city from any cooperation with federal ICE activities. There are a lot of reasons I'm asking you for this. Some have been said by previous testimony. One, given the apparent violation of rights of individuals by ICE agents in Bozeman, and given the fact that the holding room in Helena, is on city property and is being used to hold, or was being used to hold, some of those folks who were allegedly illegally rounded up. I also think the appearance and perception may be of complicity in this if you don't take action. These, I believe, will be borne out in the courts, that these activities are illegal and violate constitutional rights. Your constituents have said over and over again, they want this resolution. It does not violate Montana statute. I was on the floor when this was passed. I believe it was in the House at the time, but the Sanctuary City Bill was passed, which has been referred to, and this resolution has nothing to do with that Sanctuary City Bill. And I'm not an attorney. There's a very, very well-respected nonprofit law firm in town, Upper Seven Law Firm, who is handling the case of the recent roundup, at least for one gentleman. And like I said, I believe it'll be borne out in court that these activities are illegal. I encourage you to be on the right side of history in this.
Ms.
Oh,
Dunwell, can you
time's up.
start
I'm so
wrapping up?
sorry. Can I just say one more thing? When we stand there all together on Wednesday and listen to the recitation of the Declaration of Independence, I would encourage you to ponder that this really is what we're talking about when we say
Thank you,
when
Ms.
we
Dunwell.
for
Can you
our
please wrap up?
independence. You're welcome, and thank you for considering reintroducing this resolution.
Thank you, Ms.
Have a good
Dunwell.
evening. Good night.
Next public comment?
Next, with their hand raised online, I have Kep Ham.
Mr. Ham.
Mayor, Dean, Commissioners, once again, we stand before you to explain, I guess, that your job is tough and it is not fun to have to do this. And I know it is terrible for you to think that you have to stand and it feels like you're standing alone, but you are not. You have a majority of the city with you on this. We want this resolution because we want the capital city to be a place that's welcoming to everybody. It's something that I've been fighting for in the city literally for multiple decades. And it becomes more and more disturbing as we see people on the bigoted right step forward and say that they're going to use laws that have nothing to do with this to attack our city, to stop us from being able to have local control, which is something they complain needs to be in place all the time, unless it goes against something that they don't like. It's exhausting for all of us, and I know it's exhausting for you too, but at some point you have to stand up and say no more. You have to stand up and say, we will not be bullied into giving up our rights. We will not be told that these people are others. We will not be told that they are somehow people we should not support or should not like or should not have rights. Because if they do that to any one of us, they will eventually do it to all of us. That is the path that they are on, and it is us who must stop it. So I know it's tough. I know that there are a lot of people that keep pulling up these threats from the AG and what he's going to do and all the terrible things there. But you know that we have many incredible lawyers in this town. I know several of them have reached out to the city about taking this as pro bono work. So it won't cost you any more money to get this taken care of, because what they are trying to do is patently wrong. And I'm not worried about from the standpoint of, is this legal? Because I would point out, everything that Hitler did was legal. It didn't make it right. We stand up for what's right. We do what's right. It's not easy. It's not fun, but we do it. And I would appreciate if you guys would stand up and do it again, because it's needed. Your leadership is absolutely needed now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ham. Madam Clerk, is there any additional public comment?
Mayor Dean, I have no other hands raised, but I do have several public comments if you'd like me to read them into the record.
Okay.
First written public comment is from Colin McWilliams. A note to let the commissioners know that our family and many of our neighbors support the community-led resolution limiting local participation in federal immigration enforcement. From Caitlin and Colin McWilliams. On a completely different note, Sheila Danielson wrote, "Thank you, I really appreciate it." Sherry Larson. General public comment. Dear Mayor and Commissioners, as a Lewis and Clark County resident who works, shops, and enjoys entertainment in Helena, I'm writing in support of a resolution to ensure the City of Helena will not sign a 287G agreement with the Federal Immigration Enforcement. Since July 2025, your constituents and county residents have emphasized multiple times that this is a public safety issue and have requested a resolution to ensure privacy and individual civil liberties are not limited or infringed upon. Since the previously passed resolution was rescinded in March, there has been a lack of communication and transparency by the mayor and commissioners, which is unacceptable. I request you come to a consensus on this issue and move forward with public discussion. Cordially, Sherry Larson. From Gabby Hiddy. This is for public comment. From Thomas Fox, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Thomas Fox, and I am a resident of Helena. This is a general public comment in support of a resolution to ensure that Helena doesn't sign a 287G agreement with federal law enforcement. While we briefly had something in place, this body capitulated at the first inkling of resistance and has gone out of its way to create an opaque process around this issue. Your apparent unwillingness to further discuss an issue the public is clearly so concerned about is quite troubling. The people of Helena area have been telling you for a year now that the community cares about this issue. We do not want a 287G agreement in Helena. The ICE raids in Gallatin County in the past week and holding of detainees in Helena show this issue isn't going away. It's more relevant than ever. I request that you come to a consensus so that this important issue can again be discussed publicly and openly. Thank you. From Ashley Fisher, hello, Mayor and City Commission. I am writing in support of reinstating the Helena anti-ICE resolution. A community member was abducted this weekend and held in a 10-foot by 20-foot room with 17 other people in a holding room on city property. Human rights abuses happened on city property. He told his lawyer about ICE bragging and tasing an individual 3 times. They moved him without letting his lawyer know. He is 20 years old and is the sole caretaker of his grandma undergoing chemo cancer treatment. His rights have been violated. It has been a year since Christopher Martinez was taken from his wife and 4 children, causing Maria and the kids to move to California just to be a little closer to him. Now a grandson has been taken from his grandmother, another family ripped apart. Over 100 people were disappeared this last week in Bozeman. Many of those people passed through Helena during these raids. We need to protect our community and need you to stop turning a blind eye. They are humans, not criminals. From Gabby Hitty, I believe this was intended to be up top. I would like the city law enforcement resolution relating to federal immigration matters to be reinstated. From Joseph Vanderwall, this is a general comment for the end of the meeting. I urge the commission to revisit and reinstate the commission concerning immigration enforcement and city resources. It has made me extremely concerned to see the commission refuse to follow through on their promises at the special meeting at the Civic Center. This is an issue that is only gathering steam and will not disappear like you seem to want it to. Reinstate the resolution. From Malin Nelson, good evening, Mayor and Commission. My name is Malin Nelson. I am a citizen of Helena. I attended the commission's special meeting at the Civic Center on Helena's anti-ICE resolution in March, and although I understand the fear of the consequences of this resolution, I'd like to express that I have far greater fear for our neighbors who are at risk of being disappeared for a democracy that is quickly crumbling. The fear that has been growing, especially during this past week with the surge of ICE raids across the country, including Montana and particularly in Bozeman. Your legal counsel at the March meeting encouraged you to rescind the resolution for the time being, and you did, but that was then and this is now. What you have done since rescinding to revive this, what have you done since rescinding to revive this resolution? This resolution is crucial to our community's safety, and I have been disappointed by the mayor and commission's lack of urgency to do anything substantial about it. Reinstate Helena's anti-ICE resolution. From Julia Cotter, my name is Julia. I am a Helena resident. I am commenting to demand that the City Commission listen to its residents and reinstate the Helena anti-ICE resolution. More than that, this City Commission should seriously consider the role it is playing in allowing the lease to DHS on airport land, which is not federal land, Emily Dean, to continue. This facility has been called by one journalist, quote, an entry to a human misery pipeline, unquote. They have kept over 50 people there since January for holds up to 72 hours. This is an office building with no beds, no privacy, and regular interrogations happening while people are jailed there. Their families cannot locate them while they are there. They cannot speak to a lawyer. Your lack of action while hearing about the human rights abuses occurring a few miles away to your community members is absolutely shameful. Inaction in the face of human rights abuses is your political legacy, Emily Dean. Caroline Farr, public comment. I am asking that the Helena City Commission reinstate the community-led resolution limiting local participation in federal immigration enforcement. Helena residents have turned out in droves time and again and have spoken loudly and clearly. We support policies that strengthen community trust, respect local decision-making, and ensure everyone can safely access schools, healthcare, emergency services, and other essential resources without fear. Please stand up for our community and listen to your constituents. From Hannah Fisher, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Hannah Fisher, and I am a Helena resident. I'm here because just a few months ago, the Commission promised the community that you would revisit the issue. Tonight is your opportunity to keep that promise. This resolution is about the kind of community Helena wants to be. It recognizes that local government works best when it focuses on local responsibilities, providing public safety, maintaining infrastructure, and delivering essential city services, not carrying out federal immigration enforcement. When people are afraid that interacting with local government could put them or a loved one at risk, everyone is less safe. Families become less likely to report crime, seek emergency assistance, or access basic services. Trust between residents and local government takes years to build and only moments to lose. The resolution does not prevent federal agencies from doing their jobs. It simply makes clear that Helena's limited local resources should be used to serve our community and reflect our community's values. Over the past several months, we've seen how important it is for Helena to speak with clarity, Residents have continued to show up, organize, and ask for a city government that prioritizes transparency, local decision-making, and the dignity of every person who calls Helena home. You told us you would come back to this conversation. We believed you. I hope you'll honor that commitment by adopting this resolution and reaffirming that Helena is a community where trust, safety, and good governance come first. Thank you for your time. From Krista Gardino, public comment. I am a resident of Helena. I witnessed ICE take Christopher Martinez from our city. I would like to see the reinstatement of the resolution brought up by Commissioner Reed. I'm one of many residents who have shown up over and over again to say masked federal agents in our city is frightening. Maria Martinez and her children and all Helena residents deserve for you to keep your word about revisiting this resolution quickly, as it is timely now as a year ago. Chris N. This is a public comment intended for our July 6, 2026 meeting. My name is Christopher Noose, and I am a longtime resident of City of Helena. I strongly support the reinstatement of Helena's anti-ICE resolution. I'm proud of the City of Helena, its citizens, its municipal law enforcement, and the city government in general. I, however, am also deeply disappointed with the handling of this resolution. 10 years ago, I suggested that anonymous masked federal agents would be roaming the streets of America, abducting people and killing U.S. citizens, I would have been met with disbelief and horror. This is our new reality, however, and now is not the time for fear. I refuse to believe that any of you genuinely believe this is acceptable behavior by our federal government, so I ask you to please reconsider your position on this resolution. Thank you for your service. From Joey Silva, I'm writing in support of reinstating the previously passed ICE resolution. This commission has repeatedly invoked the potential cost of a lawsuit as a reason to cede the city's authority to the state, and yet in this meeting and others recently, the commission is perfectly happy to spend tens of thousands of dollars on unnecessary projects like the paving of DeFord Trailhead. I am disappointed that this commission seems entirely uninterested in listening to the public on this matter. I don't support our city resources being spent to aid and abet the denial of constitutional rights to Helena residents. This commission tonight expressed their excitement to participate in a reading of the Declaration of Independence as part of a 250th event at the Capitol, and yet when the federal government is committing the very offenses enumerated in the Declaration of Independence, this commission, except for Melinda Reed, surrenders without a fight. Please do better. From Jesse Wiles, the way our city interacts with ICE is a local issue, and there is now ample evidence to support passing a resolution that clarifies existing policies and makes a firm commitment to minimize coordination with ICE, meaning coordination only to the extent required by state and federal laws. There are both ethical and procedural imperatives for such a measure, and I urge your city commission to provide the clarity and commitment Helena residents deserve. From Shay Conley, Commissioners, I urge you to accurately represent the community that you serve. Your community is showing up again and again, asking to keep our taxpayer resources out of immigration enforcement. I hope that you make a good decision here tonight. Thank you. From Melissa Hornbein, I am submitting the following public comment as I was unable to attend the meeting in person. The City Commission's capitulation to the bullying and intimidation of State Attorney General Austin Knudsen should be of deep concern to every Helena resident. The AG has the power to enforce state law and provide interpretations of questions of law that have yet to be addressed by the Montana Supreme Court. He does not have the power to dictate policy, economic, and law enforcement choices made by municipal governments in the interests of their citizens' health, safety, and welfare. When the City Commission voted to adopt the original resolution in January, it made a commitment not to establish an agreement that would allow Immigration and Customs Enforcement to deputize Helena police officers or use city infrastructure at taxpayer expense. I hope that the Commission will remember this, will stand up to petty tyranny that is legally incorrect, and will carry out the will of the vast majority of its citizens. Thank you. Mayor Dean, that is all I have in written public comment.
Okay. Is there any final comments from the commission, comments or questions? Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Mayor Dean, a question maybe for the city manager, or maybe city attorney, I'm not sure. Since March, has the city made any effort to enter a 287G agreement?
Thank you, Mayor Dean and Commission. The answer is no.
Okay. Maybe a follow-up.
Yep, go ahead.
And is there interest in let me word that follow-up. No effort has been made and no interest. How do I word that better? Does the city have an interest in entering a 287G agreement? or the funds to do so.
Mayor Dean and Commission, what I can tell you is there's been no discussion and no intent made to enter into an agreement like that.
City manager and city attorney, I did follow up on this last week. The federal property that has come up, the city does not own that land or the building. Is that accurate?
Mayor, yes, that is accurate. It's a federal facility operated by federal agency and over which we have no control or jurisdiction.
So we don't own the land either. That's operated by the airport authority.
Mayor, that is true. It's airport authority property.
Thank you. All right. Any final thoughts or comments from the commission? All right. Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.